In a world where the line between virtual reality and everyday life is becoming thinner, we face a question that concerns many. Can video games really change a person's mind so much that the virtual world replaces the real one? What happens when digital worlds stop being just entertainment and become a new reality for the player? Today we'll dive into a shocking story that will make you rethink the influence of modern technology on the human mind. The story of Wei Nam Kam from Canada, a young man who committed something terrible while, according to his own words, believing he was just playing Skyrim. Let's begin, young detectives. Located on the banks of the Fraser River, Marpole is one of the oldest neighborhoods in the Canadian city of Vancouver. About 24,000 people live in this quiet corner of the metropolis. Among them were a 64-year-old Diana Ma Jones and her 68-year-old husband Richard, an ordinary Canadian couple whose lives ended in the most tragic way. Diana worked as an occupational therapist at the G.F. Strong Rehabilitation Center. During her 35 years of service in the healthcare system, she earned a reputation as a true professional. In 2017, her work was recognized with the prestigious British Columbia Healthcare Hero Award. Colleagues called Diana the heart of the team. She was valued for her creative thinking and inventiveness. She developed unique rehabilitation devices for patients, from a latex collar for a woman with muscular dystrophy to a wooden tower with a belt drive for a patient who needed to eat while standing. Diana was so dedicated to her work that she often tested new rehabilitation techniques on her husband Richard, who had physical limitations himself and used a walker. Friends described Diana as a person with an adventurous spirit and passion for dancing, a warm and caring individual about whom nothing bad could be said. On September 27, 2017, fate had a grim surprise in store. Anthony Purcell, Diana's colleague, concerned about her absence from work, decided to stop by her home. Diana never missed work without notice, and no one could reach her by phone. Arriving at the Jones house, Anthony immediately noticed alarming details: a bloody hatchet and knife on the path in front of the house. Approaching the back door, he saw bloody footprints on the steps. The screen door was closed, but the main door remained open.
When was the last time you were in touch with her? I would have seen her at work yesterday. A lot of co-workers were surprised that she hadn't called in sick. She's not on vacation. It's very uncharacteristic of her. The back door is open. Man, I think there's blood everywhere. I think I need someone to come over. I'm going to stay at the house. I don't think I should go in. I'm going to assume you need police and ambulance, man. Front door is locked. Back door is open. There's a trail of blood footsteps coming down the steps. And for what it's worth, man, there's a knife in the front pathway. It's in a plastic cover, right? Okay. But what kind of made me go around back is there is also a hatchet on the front yard with it looks like drops of blood.
After calling out to the owners and receiving no answer, Anthony went inside. In the kitchen, he witnessed a scene that would forever remain in his memory. The floor and walls were covered in blood. Without wasting a second, he ran out of the house and dialed 911.
I peeked inside. It looks like there's blood all over the floor, man. I hope I'm overreacting. I hope it's just, I don't know.
This is where the paths of the loving Canadian couple and the young gamer intersected, an intersection that led to irreparable consequences for all involved in the tragedy. Meet the perpetrator, Rocky Rambo Wei Nam Kam. And no, this is not nickname, it's his real name, given by his parents. Apparently, his father was a big fan of Sylvester Stallone movies. In September 2017, Rocky was 25 years old. He grew up in Hong Kong, then moved to Calgary for higher education. After receiving a bachelor's degree in economics, Rocky couldn't find work in his field. In June 2017, he relocated to Vancouver, first living in a hostel, then renting a room at 7608 Granville Street, just 2 minutes walking distance from where Diana's car would later be found, and 12 minutes from the murder site. To pay his bills, Rocky played video games at a competitive level. His roommate described him as a quiet and understanding person.
Kam was arrested Monday at a rundown house on Granville Street. This man answered the door there this afternoon.
Can you tell us anything about Rocky?
Yeah,
Rambo?
he was a nice guy, and I guess he was up, but get off my property.
As we were leaving, the man attacked us and another TV news crew.
I'll break those right now.
Hey, don't do anything! Hey!
Just let go!
We're leaving!
Calling on you.
I asked you to get off my property.
Okay!
We are off the property!
Before that fateful night, Rocky had barely attracted police attention. The only blemish in his background was a car accident in 2017. Constables Phil Enns and Peter Swan from the Vancouver Police Department arrived at the scene and immediately noticed no signs of forced entry. In the kitchen were grocery bags, some still full, others tipped over onto the floor. Police found a receipt from a store dated the previous evening. Everything indicated that Diana was attacked immediately after returning from shopping. Blood was everywhere, on the kitchen and living room walls and floor. A string was tied to one of the kitchen chair legs. Large blood stains were visible on the floor nearby. Following the bloody trail inside the house, the officers reached the bathroom. The door was closed, with the sound of a running shower coming from inside. When Officer Swan opened the door, he was enveloped by hot steam, and through the water vapor, the outlines of human bodies appeared. Richard Jones was lying on the floor, with Diana on top of him. A handheld shower was directed right at Richard's face. Both victims were dead. Outside on the pathway, police found an orange starfruit knife and a hatchet. On the back stairs were bloody footprints and blood drops leading to the street. Inside the house, there were no foreign fingerprints, only blood traces indicating the killer wore gloves. A blood-stained baseball cap was found in the kitchen. Also missing were the keys to the couple's white Kia Soul and the car itself. The victims' wallets were gone, although none of their bank cards were used after 7:51 p.m. on September 26th, when Diana was shopping at Costco. Notably, computers, electronics, and valuable jewelry remained untouched, including Diana's watch and diamond ring. Dr. Matthew Ort, a forensic pathology expert, determined that Diana died from multiple injuries. The main cause was a massive wound to her neck that severed her carotid artery. Numerous injuries to her head, limbs, and torso were found, including a broken nose and fractured ribs. She had clearly fought desperately against her attacker. Based on blood spatter patterns, the killer attacked Richard when he entered the kitchen. The pattern of blood on the floor and walls indicated a methodical, controlled attack carried out while Richard was lying on the floor. Richard died from multiple acute force traumas, more than 100 chopping wounds, stabs, and cuts of varying depths. Notably, there were almost no defensive wounds on his hands, except for a wound on the back of his left hand. DNA of both victims was identified on the hatchet found in the yard, and DNA found on the knife matched genetic material discovered under Diana's fingernails. Police immediately suspected this was a random killing. The couple was loved by everyone, had no enemies, and the crime was exceptionally brutal. This meant solving the case would be more difficult, and police immediately turned to the public for help.
Officers are combing a full city block, searching for any evidence after a double murder discovered Wednesday inside this Marpole home. Police found the bodies of 65-year-old Diana Ma Jones and her husband, 68-year-old Richard Jones.
A homicide that's not connected to the criminal lifestyle, I would say, is even more rare.
Residents are now being asked to call 911 if they see anything suspicious or if they have a gut feeling that something just isn't right.
The next day, the couple's car was found a kilometer from the murder site, near K Street and Park Drive. Police also checked the basement that the Jones couple rented through Airbnb, but this line of investigation yielded no results. On October 3rd, a week after the murder, police requested dashcam footage from everyone living in the area. Residents actively responded. Hundreds of hours of recordings from home cameras and car dash cams were handed over to investigators. The neighborhood, where violent crimes rarely occurred, was shocked by what had happened. Thanks to camera footage and witness testimonies, investigators reconstructed the chronology of the Jones couple's last day. On September 26th, Diana worked as usual, then returned home, attended a dance class, and went shopping at Costco. Neighbor Emma saw Richard and Diana chatting at the backyard between 5:15 and 5:30 p.m. Richard was recorded by cameras between 5:56 and 6:43 p.m. Diana was captured getting into her car after dance class at 7:08 p.m. And then at Costco in Richmond, at 8:01 p.m. she parked in front of her house. Several hours later, at 10:24 p.m., cameras recorded Diana's Kia Soul driving away from the house and parking about a kilometer away. Later, police found the car keys hidden in the garden nearby. Security camera footage captured a man walking several blocks from where the car was left. He was wearing a jacket and carrying a backpack. Police traced his movements, obtained additional footage from stores and residents in the area. The hatchet used in the murder still had an attached barcode, which allowed tracking its purchase along with a baseball cap found at the crime scene at a local Canadian tire store. On September 13, 2017, 2 weeks before the murder, the same man was caught on camera buying a hatchet, baseball cap, and gloves. Timestamp on the video matched the record of the bank card being used. The suspect's name, as you've already guessed, was Rambo Wei Nam Kam. Rocky was immediately placed under surveillance and a plan was developed to obtain his DNA. The operation turned out to be surprisingly simple. A female undercover officer approached Rocky asking for help opening a water bottle. He took the bottle, opened it, and returned it. DNA analysis showed a perfect match with biological material found under Diana's fingernails. After this, Rocky was detained and brought in for questioning. The complete video of the interrogation lasts 9 painful hours and is available on YouTube for the most persistent viewers. After his arrest, Rocky's glasses were seized and a small drop of dried blood matching Diana's DNA was found on them. The investigation required the participation of more than 240 officers, questioning over 1,000 residents and business owners. Hundreds of hours of surveillance footage were examined. Total cost of the investigation to taxpayers was $600,000.
Have a seat. What's that? I think Chris has just gone to get you some water.
Okay.
So like I explained to you, the conversation there was private. I'm still recording this. I'm going to switch this off in a minute when I'm done. This interview room is being audio and video recorded.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and your full name, Rocky Rambo Wei Nam Kam.
Yes.
Yeah, you're laughing. Why are you laughing?
I don't like that.
Oh. You don't like all of the names or some of the names?
Rocky Rambo. Do you know Rocky Rambo?
Well, I know a Rocky Rambo,
You
yeah.
look like Rocky Rambo, do you?
Not much, no. Is that well, that's obviously the name that your parents gave you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kiss, I mean.
Huh?
Kiss, I mean.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Oh, well, you know.
Well, but everyone could, after they know my name, they could surely know me, like Rocky Rambo.
Who?
Oh, that guy.
When you meet people, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Rocky Rambo. Oh, do you know Rocky Rambo? Oh, sure. Yeah, that guy, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's not, it's quite an unusual name.
Contrary to expectations, despite the irrefutable evidence, Rocky claimed innocence.
Here they are here. Do you recognize those folks?
I have nothing to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have nothing to say.
Okay.
I don't think I have anything to say.
Okay.
I have nothing to say. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to talk about it. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. I don't want to talk about it.
I totally respect your position that you at this point you don't want to talk about it. But you might change your mind, and I'm going to suggest you probably will.
I don't think so. I have nothing to say. Nothing to say.
come on, Rocky. That just can't be your response to this.
Nothing to say. I have nothing to say.
Please don't laugh at this.
It's just funny that I just keep saying I have nothing to say.
Look at that and say, I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry about me. I know you got my DNA under her fingernails, but fuck her. Who gives a shit about her? Who gives a shit about this guy? I'm good. Like, how is that? Like, how are you doing that? How are you sitting there saying, no thanks? You know, Rocky, I can sit there and I can feel that you are feeling something. I can see that you're emotional. Why aren't you taking this chance to at least express remorse? Maybe today you're not ready to talk about the whole ugly story, but at least say you're sorry. For what? You're an animal.
When the trial began, he admitted to physically killing Diana and Richard Jones. He simply had no choice in the face of DNA evidence and surveillance camera footage. The question was whether the prosecution could prove the murders were premeditated.
I'm not sure if you understand the magnitude of the largeness.
I know.
You know that one, good.
But I'm just waiting for your word.
Yeah, you know, the magnitude of what's going to happen and what's going on. I mean,
murder is serious, right? Appreciate what you have to say, but I really have nothing to say.
I got you on video doing those things, so I don't want you to sit there thinking this is nothing. I don't have to worry about this. You have to worry about this, Rocky. It's not a laughing matter.
Take some rest. Have a dinner.
I'm going to sit with you. I think you need company.
No thanks. Anyway, I could make this end.
You know, it's not going away. It's not going to end anytime.
To be found guilty of first-degree murder, it had to be proven that the actions were planned and deliberate. Rocky claimed he was only guilty of manslaughter for each victim. The defense tried to prove that at the time of the killings, Rocky was in an altered mental state, unaware of the nature of his actions and their consequences. Then Rocky himself testified in his defense. At trial, he confessed to everything. He confirmed buying the items found at the crime scene at Canadian Tire, the hatchet, baseball cap, string, the starfruit knife, though he struggled to explain why he made these purchases.
What was going through his head, quite frankly, your guess is as good as mine. We've got no information whatsoever to tie the victims to the accused.
According to him, he placed all these items in his backpack to make it heavier for training during walks. Rocky told the court how he was walking in the Marpole area between 7:30 and 8 p.m. when he saw Diana parking her car and bringing groceries into the house. Noticing that the trunk remained open, he realized she would return for the remaining items. Rocky hid behind a tree, took weapons from his backpack, and when Diana appeared again, forcibly pushed her into the house. Inside there was a moment of silence, after which Diana began screaming for help. Rocky shouted how he dropped his pocket knife and covered her mouth with his hand. When that didn't help, he moved his hand to her throat and used both hands to strangle her. After Diana stopped resisting, Rocky heard sounds from the far part of the house. He hid behind the stairs, and when Richard entered the kitchen, attacked him with a knife. Even after multiple stabs, Richard didn't die immediately. The court was shocked when Rocky admitted that at some point he wondered, why isn't he dying? When Richard tried to stand up, Rocky knocked him back to the floor and continued the attack. After numerous stab wounds, Rocky went to the living room for the hatchet and hit Richard on the neck. Then he closed the blinds and unscrewed the light bulb so passerby couldn't see the blood and bodies. After this, he dragged both bodies from the kitchen to the bathroom. Unlike most killers, Rocky didn't rush to leave the crime scene. He wandered around the house, found $30 in the guest bedroom and a set of keys. He drank milk from the refrigerator and ate a peach. Then he placed the bodies in the shower, turned on the water, and closed the door. Rocky collected random items: bananas, paper towels, car keys, and things from the victim's pockets, putting them in a grocery bag. Then he packed his hoodie and a couple of peaches in his backpack. In total, Rocky spent 2 hours and 23 minutes in a Jones house after committing the murders. Leaving through the back door, he noticed a woman passing by and hid in the bushes, not wanting to be seen. He didn't notice that the hatchet and knife fell to the ground. At trial, he stated that he stole Diana's car simply because it was there and he didn't want to walk home. On the way, he stopped at the dumpster and threw away some items from the Jones house. Then he parked the Kia on a street and tossed the keys into a nearby garden. His entire route from beginning to end was recorded by surveillance cameras. Returning home, Rocky noticed his hoodie was bloody. He put it in his backpack along with other clothes and threw it in a neighbor's dumpster. After that, he went to bed and, according to him, had no trouble sleeping that night. In the morning, he heard sirens and checked the internet for news about the murder, but found nothing. Rocky claimed that after this, he didn't think about the crime until his arrest. Throughout the process, he insisted that he didn't plan to harm anyone during his evening walk on September 26th. This claim contradicted the fact that he had a backpack full of weapons, string, gloves, and spare clothes. According to him, he carried these items to weigh down his backpack during training walks. Dr. Shen, an expert in clinical psychology, suggested that Rocky might have been in an altered state, which he called a gaming state of mind, when he killed Richard and Diana. In his opinion, Kam's tendency toward self-isolation and immersion in fantasies through video games and comics could have blurred the boundaries between reality and fiction. The term gaming state of mind is not scientific or widely accepted. It's simply a descriptive expression used by Dr. Shen. He couldn't determine triggers that caused such a state and wasn't aware of other cases where people committed violence under the influence of a gaming state of mind. Notably, Dr. Shen didn't conduct psychological tests for personality disorders, including psychopathy, didn't watch the interrogation videos, didn't speak with Rocky's close ones, and didn't study crime scene photographs or autopsy results. His conclusion was based exclusively on conversations with Rocky and information from the defense. Despite the defense's attempts to present the so-called gaming state of mind as the cause of the crime, scientific research paints a completely different picture of how video games affect human behavior. According to Ferguson's work 2015, there is no reliable evidence that video games negatively impact children and adolescents. Ferguson concluded that video games do not cause significant increases in aggression, do not reduce prosocial behavior, do not affect academic performance, are not associated with depression symptoms, and do not intensify attention deficit symptoms. This sharply contrasts with the defense's portrayal that immersion in virtual worlds could disturb Rocky's perception of reality so much that he couldn't distinguish between game and life. The scientific community is unanimous. Although games may temporarily affect emotional states, they cannot completely erase the line between reality and fiction in a mentally healthy person. Despite the defense's attempts, the evidence was irrefutable. DNA analysis, surveillance camera recordings, and Rocky's own testimony indicated premeditated murder. The prosecution pointed to planning reflected in the purchase of murder tools, search requests about stun guns and drugs causing unconsciousness, as well as the methodical nature of the committed murders. Rocky Rambo Wei Nam Kam was found guilty by the Supreme Court of British Columbia. Judge Laura Giroux rejected the gaming state of mind theory as untenable. Rocky was sentenced to life imprisonment with a possibility of parole after 25 years. The The prosecution requested 50 years before he could apply for parole, but Giroux found this sentence excessively long and harsh. She described the crimes as extremely disturbing but said no evidence was presented suggesting a longer sentence was necessary to protect society. I would dare say that a person walking around with a backpack full of weapons, hunting random victims, needed lifelong imprisonment. But that's just one person's opinion. Giroux also noted that just because Kam is eligible for parole doesn't mean it will be granted. Diana was one of 4 sisters. She was described as an energetic, fun-loving personality who contributed greatly to the community through her work as an occupational therapist and volunteer. Richard Jones was described as a warm, kind, generous person. Their families reported that since the murders, they have suffered from deep sadness and anxiety, including concerns about their own safety. As for the true motive for the murders, only Rocky knows this, but he isn't telling. The only theory that makes sense is that he's a deeply troubled individual who wanted to kill simply for the thrill. I hope he is never released. Thank you for watching. If there is a case you'd like me to cover, write about it in the comments. Take care of yourselves and each other. See you next time.